In a stunning development that unfolded in the quiet hours of the night, the nation woke up to breaking news that could reshape the financial picture for millions of Americans who have been living under relentless economic pressure. At around 2 a.m., long after the usual political chatter fades and most official statements come to a halt, the White House released a confirmation that sent shock waves across every corner of the country, especially within communities of seniors who rely on Social Security benefits to get through each month. President Trump issued a rare late night confirmation stating that a $2,000 stimulus payment, described as a tariff dividend, is not just being considered, not simply being studied, but is being prepared for distribution. The announcement wasn't accompanied by a flashy press conference or a major speech. Instead, it slipped out through tightly worded remarks and a brief Treasury note that many almost missed. But the sentence that immediately triggered nationwide attention was Trump's declaration that the dividend will be paid. Those three words echoed through households already struggling under the weight of rising grocery prices, higher medical costs, and monthly bills that continue to climb faster than incomes. For seniors trying to stretch every Social Security check, for disabled Americans balancing expensive medications with basic necessities, and for veterans who depend on fixed federal benefits, those words carried an impact heavier than any midnight announcement in recent memory. And before diving further into the deeper layers of this new development, this is where I want to welcome you back to Truth Lens, the channel dedicated to breaking down the biggest national updates, major financial shifts, and government changes affecting everyday Americans, especially seniors, retirees, low-income workers, and households that live on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and veteran benefits. This space is built for clarity, for truth, and for keeping you informed when decisions made behind closed doors affect your financial survival. With seniors across America facing the harsh reality of fixed incomes that no longer match the cost of living, Truth Lens remains committed to tracking every change that impacts their daily struggles, their stability, and their ability to maintain dignity while living on benefits that many say fall short of covering even the most basic expenses. As details continue to develop through the early morning hours, a series of internal documents, Treasury memos, and background conversations began painting a clearer picture of what this so-called tariff dividend might actually mean. For months, the idea of using tariff revenue, money collected from taxes on foreign imports, as a form of direct payment to the American people floated through political speeches and social media posts, often brushed off as campaign talk. But hidden inside these new documents are outlines showing specific eligibility groups, early drafts of payment categories, and language referencing the very $2,000 figure Trump mentioned in his last public address. What caught analysts off guard was that these drafts didn't simply speculate on possibilities. They mapped out the mechanics. They identified priority populations. They revealed matching systems that could link Social Security beneficiaries, SSI recipients, disabled Americans, and veterans to direct payment files already stored within federal agencies. For seniors who have watched prices rise while their monthly checks barely move, these revelations brought a moment of rare relief, a sense that someone inside the system finally recognized the urgent financial strain so many endure. The timing of the announcement was no accident. Dropping the update at 2 a.m. ensured minimal political interference and allowed the administration to control the message before opposition voices could mobilize. According to sources familiar with White House strategy discussions, the late night release was designed to signal urgency and decisiveness. Seniors, in particular, have been vocal for years about the widening gap between their Social Security payments and the true cost of living. Many have described choosing between medications and groceries, splitting pills to make prescriptions last, skipping meals, or delaying necessary medical care to cover rent or utilities. For many older Americans, the promise of an additional $2,000, especially delivered without needing congressional approval, felt like a long delayed acknowledgement of what they have been saying for years. The system is not keeping up and they are falling behind. Digging through the internal notes revealed that Trump's team has been studying whether tariff revenue can be classified as surplus funds and redirected straight to the public. Under normal circumstances, Congress must approve spending of federal revenue. But the administration is exploring whether an executive declaration labeling tariffs as dividend-eligible funds could move the process forward without needing a bill or a vote. The most eye-opening part of the internal memos were the payment categories themselves. Senior citizens on Social Security were listed among the first groups, followed by SSI recipients, SSDI beneficiaries, veterans receiving disability or pension payments, and low-income households verified through IRS records. For seniors living month to month, often running out of money in the last week before their next deposit arrives, this priority listing carried enormous emotional weight. It meant recognition. It meant possibility. It meant a government finally acknowledging how many seniors are one missed payment away from crisis. Another internal summary revealed that the Social Security Administration and the U.S. Treasury have already discussed the speed at which they could distribute payments using current direct deposit channels. Because Social Security beneficiaries already have verified bank information on file, seniors could receive payments with no additional forms, no signups, and no delays, something that could significantly ease the stress that so many older adults live under daily. Across the country, retirees have spoken about their experiences with inflation, wiping out the value of small cost of living adjustments. Even a minor unexpected expense, a broken appliance, a medical copay, a car repair, can destabilize an entire month. For seniors who spent decades contributing to the system, the possibility of a $2,000 infusion felt like more than financial relief. It felt like validation. Yet behind the scenes, not everyone agrees. The Senate Budget Committee has raised objections, arguing that redirecting tariff revenue this way stretches executive authority too far. But Trump's advisors counter that previous administrations have used emergency powers to issue financial relief during national hardship. Rising food prices, record-breaking rents, and soaring medical costs have hit seniors hardest. Internal communications consistently highlight seniors as a group experiencing acute economic pressure. This is not political language. It is the language of federal agencies recognizing the reality that countless older Americans are having to cut essentials, use food banks, or rely on family support just to stay afloat. As debates continue, one detail stands out. Treasury documents list the trial modeling amount for the first wave as payment level $2,000. This is the strongest indication yet that the number Trump publicly repeated is not symbolic, it's structural. For Social Security recipients, the plan would use the same deposit channels that deliver monthly benefits. That means payments could arrive in the same accounts where seniors already receive their retirement or disability checks. For SSI and SSDI recipients who often live in the deepest financial hardship, the dividend language listed them as high-impact recipients, an acknowledgement of their vulnerability in the face of rising economic strain. Disabled Americans have repeatedly expressed that their benefits fall far short of covering the essentials, and any additional financial support could mean access to better food, better medicine, or simply 1 month without having to choose between necessities. The internal memos also emphasize how veterans would be included. Many disabled veterans and VA pension recipients struggle with fixed incomes that do not match the cost of care or living expenses. Treasury lists veterans under direct federal payees, indicating they could receive payments quickly without processing delays. For workers and low-income families, IRS records would serve as verification, mirroring the mechanics of earlier stimulus programs. And while income thresholds are still being finalized, The intention is clear: to reach Americans who have been stretched thin